Okay, today we are working with my Elle Studio June 2020 kit. I've got a couple different cards pulled out as well as a couple die cuts. I do have the rest of the kit right here, so I may pull from it, but this is kind of what I'm starting with. And I am starting in my Traveler's Notebook. This is the one that has kind of the all around town things that we like to do around our town. I have just a couple pages left in here, so I'm documenting this photo, and this is a photo of us actually at a UNC basketball game. It's a college in our local area, UNC Chapel Hill, if you don't know what it is. And we, for a couple years, were going to their basketball games quite frequently. I'm not sure how that looks now with the way that the basketball seasons and all of our sports are going this year, but we will see. But this is one of our favorite things to do, is to go to live basketball events. So we're going to get that documented in here. I'm going to put you on fast forward as we kind of work through this, because I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do. But I pulled out specifically the blue and gray items, and I paired it with this page because it's kind of got this pink, but I think I may actually trim the red off and just keep the pink. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna put you on fast forward and we'll see how this comes together. Okay, I am just going ahead and cutting off that red piece. I knew right away that it did not work with the page that I have this photo paired with. Now, these florals have absolutely nothing to do with my story. If anything, they're the furthest thing from my story. But I really like the way that the pink and the grays kind of paired with the different tones of blue. And then I am going to use a few gray embellishments as well, just to kind of pull it all together. And I did leave that pink strip on the bottom of this striped card. I feel like the blue just kind of works well with the pink, but the red stood out too much to me. So the very first thing I do after kind of getting these few things laid out is figure out what I'm going to put on this little chart card. I love this chart card, and I was trying to figure out how to work with it. So I decided that I'm going to do a bunch of stampings. I'm actually going to pull out 4 stamp sets now. I have looked, and only one of these 4 stamp sets is still available for purchase that I can find anywhere. So I will link it in my supply list, and it's going to be this one that has the die cut, the little metal dies in there, and that is a Hero Art stamp set. It's called Kelly's Alpha Tab Stamps and Cut. So you get 2 little dies as well as the alphas. And so I've pulled out 3 different alpha stamps here and a Felicity Jane stamp set that has a lot of different sentiments on it. So I'm going to do a lot of stamping. I have been watching a lot of Hiba from My Little Journal here on YouTube for quite a while, and she does a lot of stamping, and I've really been drawn to the stamping because I don't actually do it very often. I don't take the time to do the stamping, so I have moved my stamps to where they're a little bit more accessible, and I have decided that over the last couple weeks that I'm going to keep a couple stamps on my desk at all times. That way, as I'm working on a project, I can immediately look up and see stamp sets, and it may just help me remember to do more stamping. And so far it's worked quite well. So I am kind of putting this is not really my title. This is more like subtitles or journaling or whatever. Really, my title is going to be UNC, which I'm going to stamp on that blue label with the star on it. But I am kind of doing, like I said, a subtitle. So it's basically going to say live basketball events are the best. And I'm using 2 different alphas to stamp this out. The bolder one is the Kelly's Alphas from Hero Arts. That's the ones that are still available. And this very, very thin one is actually from Studio 29 Designs. It's called the Walden print. Now, Studio 29 Designs is no longer a company that's in business, but you may be able to find a few stamp sets periodically in D-stashes or maybe, on eBay or something like that, but I can't currently find any right now. Now, I love this really skinny alpha so much that I actually purchased a second set from the shop whenever the shop was going out of business, just to make sure that I had them in my stash in case I lose them, because these are the tiniest little stamps, but they work so well when you're stamping out long words or phrases and you just want to kind of not take up so much space. So I really like the way that works on this chart card, but there's a circle at the top and I have to figure out something to put in it. And I go through a whole bunch of different stickers. There was only one die cut in the kit that I had left that fit, and it was a bright red, and it just wasn't working for me because I already purposefully took the red out of this layout. So then to have the only circle piece that I could find be a bright red die cut, I just decide, okay, I can't find a sticker or anything to go there. I will set this aside for a second and work on putting the rest of my layout together. So I'm doing a little bit more stamping, and I'm just stamping out UNC because that was the game that we're at. And then, funny enough, this die cut that's the blue with the star is actually the color of like the UNC colors. So it works really well. And this photo is of us standing outside the stadium. You just can't see it. You don't know that that's the stadium we're standing in front of. There's nothing on the building behind us that actually says that you can actually see. So I'm just putting that on there to kind of remind me of where we were whenever I'm taking this picture. I did want that gray with that white card, so I just end up making a mat out of it. Rest and relax is a nice sentiment, but it's not something I have to have, and I'm sure I have a million other cards with the same type of sentiment on it, so I'm just covering that up. I have no problem doing that. I'm just basically using the gray for the color. I've got a couple of those die cuts that I had pulled out, trying to figure out how I want them to work on this page. I'm trying to keep the blue spread across into the right part of the page as well, since I don't have a ton of blue already on that part of the page. This layout came together super quick. The thing that took the longest amount of time was definitely the stamping. So then I used that Felicity James stamp set just to put a little star. It's like a doodled star in that little circle, and we just go with it. I wish I had like a blue ink that matched this one that I could have stamped it in, but I'm not going to worry about that. I just went with it. It worked fine. Now also in this stamp set, there were 3 total sizes of that doodled star, so I'm going to stamp a couple of them around the page, just stamping the little tiny ones mostly, and then I have the largest one that's in the circle. So this is really kind of a nice way to incorporate stamping into my layout without it having to be so bold or overpowering on the page. And I really like the way that it like gives me a subtitle. And I've included a couple different fonts. And I'm taking a little bit of vellum. I had already put vellum behind my photo, and I'm just making another little tab to kind of layer behind this right piece behind where I have that darker blue. You can barely see it, but I do like the effect that it adds. So this is the finished layout. It's super simple, but I really like the effect of all of the stamping, and then I really like the colors and how they work with this background page that really has nothing to do with this story. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We are nearing the end of the video here. I have a couple videos linked for you to go back and watch if you are interested. I am doing a 2020 kit review series where I am sharing a bunch of different kits that I've purchased. This June 2020 kit from Elle Studio was part of that kit review series, so I will link the playlist as well as the unboxing for this video, for this kit rather. All right, thank you so much. Bye.